Hello houseplant friends, welcome back to my plant room, and today we're going to compare the string of plants that I have today to my string of plants that I had on March 4th, 2020, 1 year ago. I've been planning on doing this video for a while, but I keep putting it off because I keep ending up getting more and more string of plants, and I really wanted to wait until I had kind of like the plants that I really wanted for this video. Also going to be comparing and contrasting the advice that I gave a year ago. I guess let's get into it. The funniest thing though is I do have the same hairstyle in this video. I have maintained the half up mini bun this entire time, which I think is just pretty funny. Before we get into today's video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Maybe you've been binge watching my videos and you just forgot to hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the community. I also have YouTube memberships, which you can check out at the link in the description. But other than that, let's just jump into today's video. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 houseplants today. Oh, 12, 13, 14, 15 houseplants to show you today. In the first video that I made, which is the most popular video on my channel and probably how many of you first discovered my channel, is my how to take care of string of houseplants. In this video, I featured a string of pearls, one alive and one dead, a string of turtles, a string of dolphins, and a string of hearts. So we have effectively, quadrupled the amount of plants. I figure that we will just kind of go through them however, and I'm just gonna run you through the advice. I'll probably end up showing some clips from the last video in this video to show you a real comparison. Yeah, let's just do this. So starting off, we have my little string of pearls. No, this is not the same string of pearls. I got this plant probably about a month ago now. This is actually two little string of pearls plugs that I have potted up in this pot. I think that my number one mistake when I first got my string of pearls, I just would not water it anywhere near enough. This plant likes to get watered more than you would think, which is why I think a lot of people struggle with it. This is a lot of people's least favorite plant, even though they are so cute. And it's just because of the fact that they are really, really hard to kind of get down. What I do is whenever I notice that the pot is really, really dry, and when I start to see pearls on the ends start to shrivel up, here's a really good example. And you won't see all of them, you'll only see a few of them. That right there is what some of your pearls will look like, looking at these, when you need to water your plant. This one can go a couple more days without being watered, so I'm gonna let it go just a little bit longer before I water it. Yeah, you don't wanna wait too long. It is a succulent, but it is not a plant that likes to be very forgiving if you forget to water it. Beautiful little mug by Clay Ceramics, one of my favorite Boise ceramicists. She's iconic. She looks really good. She's like my little witch's pot of peas. I think something else that I got wrong is that in my first video, I said that I was giving this plant constant direct light. I give these plants direct bright light, like as much light as you can give them, which I don't think is smart. A lot of people think that succulents, even normal succulents that you'd see sold at Home Depot, even those plants don't like bright direct light. This plant is going to want bright indirect light. So I keep this in my window in a spot where it's gonna get super, super bright indirect light, but little to no direct light. I think that I was burning the plant before, and I think it was running out of water too quickly, and then I would wait too long to water it. So I think that those were my biggest mistakes with this plant. Next, we're gonna jump to string of turtles. Another way that a lot of you guys discovered my channel quite a bit ago was through my string of turtles Lowe's video. This is a different string of turtles that I got from the same Lowe's about 8 months later. I've had this plant now for probably a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and he's doing really good, growing very well. I'm giving him a lot of direct bright light, as much as I can actually, and he is thriving because of that. We have a ton of new growth. I also have 2 more string of turtles plants that I've had for probably 5 months now, and you'll see them right here. Very beautiful. They've been growing in very nicely. When I first got these plants, they were not trailing at all, or they were were only trailing just a little bit, but now they have pieces that are over 8 inches long in some places. So he's doing very well. I keep him also in the same window, but that plant only gets bright indirect light versus I give this one direct bright light, and this one needs to be watered all of the time. I know to water this when I start to feel the pot is just super duper light, and then I look at the little turtles and I see that they almost feel flat instead of a rounded succulent shape. String of turtles will always feel like a little rounded succulent, so you know that when they start to just feel kind of flat in some places, usually it'll start at the end of the stem. That is when your plant is going to need to be watered. A huge misconception that I said in the last video is that as long as you give this plant light, it will grow. This plant, as long as you give it light, it will grow. It can be even just a little bit of light. And while that is true to some extent, that is, I feel like, the worst. That's like me saying you could give this plant low light and it will do fine, and that is not true. String of turtles is a succulent. It is a very succulent peperomia, and it needs at least medium bright to bright indirect light. I was giving it bright indirect light and saying that you could give it any kind of light, and that was just not correct. So I don't know why I did that, but I did say that, so I apologize. Another really cool thing is that when you sun stress your string of turtles, the little turtles at the top will actually get much darker and will result in a much more almost contrasted turtle, which is really, really super fun and very beautiful. Again, I do have 3 of these plants. This is one, and then I do have 2 of them potted up together. That one has been going strong for 5 months now, and it is doing much better than my first round of string of turtles. Okay, so next we have string of dolphins, and mine is thirsty right now. Did this on purpose so you guys could see what your string of dolphins will need to look like before you water them. I bought this string of dolphins, this big guy, at a Succulent Day, a local plant shop in town. Here is what it looks like when it needs water. You will notice that a lot of the dolphins are very veiny, they're super narrow. Normally string of dolphins are a super plump plant, but you can kind of see here how narrow the dolphins look, and that is when you need to water them. You'll also be able to see almost a type of pruning on the dolphins. So this is a pretty good example, I think, of when to water. The water will actually like damage the up high plant and it'll kind of get baldy. So when you bottom water, you actually don't run into that risk at all. The farina is the powdery coating that's like a sunblock for plants that are going to be in the sun a lot. That's where the blue hue for the string of dolphins comes from. The mistake I made with my other string of dolphins was that I way underwatered it. I was treating it like a Hoya, and I just decided it did not need anywhere near as much water as it actually did, and because of that I just honestly I killed it, which really sucks. But yeah, this one it's gonna get watered as soon as this video is done. I just wanted you guys to be able to see what a string of dolphins looks like when it needs some water. I do give this plant bright direct light for about 4 hours of the day, and it loves that. He has grown for me a ton. Even since I got this plant, it was very long when I got it, but it is much longer now and truly just thriving. He's doing really, really good. So I'm proud of this plant. Another thing to remember is that this plant is a succulent, and in my opinion, it acts more like a succulent than string of turtles or string of dolphins. Just treat this one like you would treat your other succulents at home. Just like when succulents are smaller, they're just gonna need water more often, and the string of dolphins leaves are relatively small. So you'll need to probably water this more often than you think you would, especially during the summer. The next plant I have to show you is a plant that I actually did not include in my first video, and that is the string of beetles. This is one of my favorite common houseplants. I believe it's called Peperomia angulata, but this is just an amazing plant. Not a succulent like the other string of plants. In fact, the leaves feel very, very much like cardboard. Here is a close-up of the plants that you can see, And I first discovered this plant when I was watching BB Plants, Maya, here on YouTube. She got her first one, I think 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I saw it and I just fell in love with it. And then a couple months later, Milo's got in one as well. And I got this one, which I've had this plant for almost an entire year, which is truly remarkable. So I've had this one and then I had another one. My other one did not make the move to this house. I don't know what happened, but I think it was just already on its leg out the door and I think it just did not make it. So yeah, so this one, the care for this plant is pretty easy. It doesn't need super bright light. I was giving this plant medium to, just medium. I was keeping this plant in a north-facing window and it stopped growing. Shocker. It literally almost completely stopped growing in the winter months and I don't know what happened. It was barely trailing when I first got it, maybe to right here. I got it to grow all the way down to here, but then it just stopped. And since moving it up to my plant room, I actually hung it above my desk where my kokedama were. And we have every single strand is putting out new growth. So I don't know if it just got too cold downstairs because it is very cold downstairs compared to this room specifically. This room gets a ton of sun and it's a south facing window and I have very big windows in here. And this room is honestly always like 15 degrees warmer than the rest of the house. Yeah, I don't know. She's really beautiful. And now that I've been giving her a lot brighter light, she's throwing new hands everywhere. Like all of this is new growth. And I think she's really enjoying the increased light. So this plant, because of the fact that it's not a succulent, it can be really hard to know when to water it because it doesn't crinkle up or prune up at all. So what I do is that whenever I notice that the soil or the pot in general is super duper lightweight or the leaves don't feel as thick, because these are very thick leaves, like I said earlier, they feel kind of like cardboard. So when they stop feeling like that and they start feeling more like a piece of paper, that is when you want to give it a heavy watering. She's doing really well. If you do go too long, this is what the dried out leaves will look like. And in my experience, these are just a casualty of the plant. They happen all of the time. So let me show you one that I was just sent yesterday by Gully's Plants. Check out this. So I got a little tiny baby one. So how cute is that? I got like a big adult one and I got one that's just an itty bitty little baby. This is what they look like when they're super little. This is pretty much what the new growth looks like on my bigger plant. So yeah, I don't know, just wanted to give you a cute little comparison. And now we are to our most exciting section of this video, which is the string of hearts. I have 3 varieties of string of hearts to show you. Firstly, we're gonna start with the normal string of hearts because this is really exciting to me. This was why I originally wanted to make this video in the first place, and that is because I still have the original string of hearts that I showed you in this video over a year ago. When I first made this video, it was March 4th, 2020, and I showed you this string of hearts. That was 1 year, 1 month, 5 days ago, which is just wild. And let me show you what it looks like right now. This plant is just a stunner. Since getting this plant originally a year ago, I got one more, which is now next to it. It's actually a shelf below it and it's doing just as well. And I also got another one, which I recently, a month ago, potted up into a kokedama. String of hearts has always been one of my favorite houseplants to take care of, and that is because of how incredibly easy it is to take care of. This plant will do well in some lower light situations. Remember, low light does not mean no light, it means low light. I have had times when my string of hearts are not in the highest light of situations. If you're in a pinch and you can only keep it in a lower light situation just for a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna love it, but it'll tolerate it. This is not a plant you'd want to permanently keep in a low light situation, but if it had to put up with that for just a little bit of time, it would be able to handle that. This is a plant that does decently well in medium light, believe it or not, but does amazing in bright and direct light. Now I have all 3 of my massive string of hearts plants in medium, bright, indirect light. This plant is truly a joy to own. I would say that the tips that I gave for it a year ago are the exact same tips that I would say now. You need to water it when the leaves get a little pruny, get a little kind of soft. Maybe they're starting to curl up a bit, and you're gonna give it a deep watering. With this plant, I also recommend bottom watering if it's possible. That being said, about my string of hearts, I think that this plant has been one of my most joyous plants to own. I wish that I could remember which of the two I have on my shelf was the original, the complete original. I think at this point it might be top 5 oldest plants that I own in my collection. I haven't replaced, like literally it is the same plant that I had a year and a month ago to show you. Now, let's talk about a new friend to the fam, my variegated string of hearts. So this is my variegated string of hearts, and she's doing very, very well actually. She's been growing a ton. I actually just repotted this plant. So this is 2 very small string of hearts plants that I actually repotted up as one. One of them was from Jay's greenhouse, and the other one was a old string of hearts, old variegated string of hearts plant that I've had for a very, very long time. The more sun that you give this plant, the higher contrast it'll be, the brighter that pink is gonna come out, that desirable pink that everyone wants to see, and it's gonna make that green look even bluer, which is another part that everyone does love to see. For a while, I wasn't giving this plant enough light, and you can actually see these teeny tiny little string of hearts, like these absolutely just miniature little ones. Same thing over here. It made some very, very little babies in comparison to, you know, a normal size. And I'm very impressed because I potted this up and I was really nervous how it was gonna do, but it has been doing very, very well. This plant needs bright indirect to direct light. Because of how variegated it is, it really won't tolerate anything below bright indirect light, and if it does, it means that you are supplementing it with something else. This is definitely one of the most beautiful plants that I own and one of my favorite house plants in general, because variegated plants are beautiful, but variegated plants don't often look quite as beautiful as the variegated string of hearts. I did recently repot this and he has already been going ham. This is actually the fastest I've seen it grow this entire time, which means that I definitely did the right thing by repotting it into a bigger pot and giving it even more light than I was previously before. I water this plant. I actually did just water this one, and it looks like one of the stems didn't take. So when you start to see your stems look like this, and this is actually too far gone, so it'll kind of get like this. This is unfortunately a dying stem, but when it starts to get super, super dry and papery, you know, in comparison to the thicker, more succulent leaves, that is when you're gonna need to know when to water it. Like I said, this is a little bit too far gone, but I'm sure you guys can imagine an in-between point between healthy and super papery thin. So I'm really, really glad that I have this plant. I think she's so, so beautiful. I'm gonna try propagating it at least once sometime here soon because I'm kind of excited to see. All of that being said, this is my variegated string of hearts. Now finally, I do have some new plants to show you, and this might seem redundant if you watched my video yesterday, which I'm sure you are probably seeing this video in the future. Hopefully it gets as popular as the first one that I made. I'm gonna now show you some new varieties of some string of hearts plants that I did get recently that were sent to me by a greenhouse called Gully's Greenhouse, and also my friend on Instagram at Hive Noise. The new varieties of string of plants that I got lately. All 3 of these are Ceropegia, and I'm very excited to show them to you. Number 1 is the Silver Glory string of hearts. I cannot believe I didn't get this sooner, especially because, I mean, we all know how obsessed I am with string of hearts plants. This was sent to me by my friend Hive Noise on Instagram, and it is a little teeny tiny string of hearts Silver Glory propagation that they took. They sent me this just to be nice. We did a cute little trade. They sent me a silver sword and a Silver Glory string of hearts. They're super, super cute, and then I was surprised by Gully Plants and their little care package they sent me with an actual potted Silver Glory, which is so exciting because this is a plant that, oh my gosh, listen, I keep saying like, I don't know why I didn't get one of these before, and it honestly is because Silver Glory is a very expensive plant. So when they sent me this, I was like, oh my gosh, because I just never thought that I would even get to have one of these because I just refused to pay prices for them. But oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. I now officially have all 3 of the varieties of these string of hearts houseplants. Hello, can I help you? How absolutely adorable is that? I think it is so cute. The next plant I have to show you is the string of arrows, also sent to me by Gully Greenhouse. This plant is so amazing. I'm pretty sure it is the same as the string of spades. You can see that in comparison to the string of hearts, it has pointy, almost triangular leaves. And this plant is truly amazing. I've wanted one of these for a while as well, but again, the prices for plants that are, I mean, string of hearts are already expensive enough. So when you get to the plants that are a little bit more special, a little bit more different than the normal string of hearts, of course, they are just gonna be more expensive, not as available. They're a little bit harder to grow. This guy is but a 1 strand, but I'm going to keep him growing in a circle so that we can keep him rooting all the way around, and then we'll get him to grow off the sides over time. But how cute is that? I don't have tips on these plants, by the way. I'm just showing you these new varieties of the string of plants that I did receive because I think that they are so funky. And for a while, I was speculative if this was even a different plant, but it totally is after seeing it in person. It is definitely not the string of hearts. It is definitely a pointier variety. Then I have this super weird guy to show you, and it's gonna be hard for you to see, so I'm gonna just kind of hold him in front of the camera so you guys can really get a good look. This is Ceropegia linearis. Picture it in your head before I show it to you. It's very, very peculiar. This is Ceropegia linearis, or string of needles. How sick is that, bro? Did you even know that existed? When I unboxed this, I was like, I had no idea. I did not even know that this plant existed. Really close, you can see that there is a little bit of the string of hearts color, kind of right down the middle almost, but you can barely even tell that it is there. It's almost like a little Hoya linearis. It's just like a little super thin little plant, super duper awkward, but adorable. And I'm just so excited by it. It's a plant that I didn't even know existed. I wasn't aware of its existence even in the slightest. So for the fact that this is like here, that's pretty cool. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have heard of Ceropegia linearis before, because I 100% have never heard of this. And it's so awkward to even look at, but like in a cute way, you know? Those are my string of houseplants that I wanted to show you. Some updated care tips, my updated string of plant collection. And I'm very excited. I love string of houseplants. I think that they are so cute. I think that the way that they grow is so special. I love that they're more succulent. They're kind of right up my alley with plants that I don't need to think about too much. They'll usually be just fine on their own. I really hope you guys liked seeing this updated video. I thought it'd be really fun to do 1 year later string of plants. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would love to hear your comments about this video in the comment section down below. Maybe you have some alternative care tips for some of these plants. Maybe you've never seen some of these plants before, and maybe you remember seeing my original video, or maybe you just saw it in just right to this channel and now you're seeing this update. So I would just love to hear your thoughts on this video. Also, a special thank you to the extra support on this channel, to Botanica's, Crazy Chick Vintage, The Planted Carly Flower, Tara Wolfgang, and all of the green places. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and tweet me at PlantMeAshley. Follow me on Instagram at PlantMeAshley. I post a lot of really cute content there and a lot of fun Instagram reels. We actually have the same amount of subscribers on Instagram and YouTube, which is pretty wild. I also have a YouTube channel memberships, which you can join if you're having a really hard time making some plant friends. You will definitely make some of those in my little plant community. We have 80 members and counting, and it is so fun to see all the new faces show up every single day. Come join, come hang out. We do a lot of events when we can remember, and yeah. I also have some really cute merch in the description as well. You can check it out on Teespring, and I have some cute designs. Some of them are brand new, so go check those out as well. And I will see you guys in the next houseplant section. Goodbye, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. This video is very, very special to my heart, and I hope that it was fun for you, because I had a lot of fun with this one especially. All right, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.